Hi, how's it going? This is Resident of Colwood for YouTube. Resident underslash of underslash Colwood for BitChute. And I'm here to review the movie The Joker, starring Joaquin Phoenix and Robert De Niro. But I'm not just going to review this film. I'm actually going to look at, from a film standpoint, how many times the Joker's origin story has actually been told, because it's happened more than once in the Batman franchise. Now, is Joker the only one with different origin stories? No, Batman himself's origin story changes depending on the alternate reality standpoint, because there's an alternate reality where Bruce Wayne is murdered and Bruce Wayne's father, Thomas Wayne, becomes Batman, and Bruce Wayne's mother becomes Joker. And no, I am not shitting you. I wish I was. But so there's that. And so I sort of, before I reviewed the Joker, really, I got to go back to the 1980s Batman movie that starred Michael Keaton, because and Jack Nicholson, where Jack Nicholson plays Jack Van Sands, aka the Joker, in that story, where Jack Van Sands is a gangster. So the Joker, in a sense, is already a gangster. He's already a criminal, and he in Batman, Michael Keaton's or Tim Burton's Batman, which whatever you want to say, Jack Van Sands murders, Bruce Wayne's parents when he's a kid. And what happens is you get this really interesting, here's this origin story told within a film, told within a whole other movie that's about Batman. But it's not just about Batman, it's about Batman and the Joker. So Tim Burton did this really well, tying these two together here. And really, if you look at it, Tim Burton, from that standpoint, he's the only director to really, he was the first real director from a live action standpoint to really link Joker and Batman together, to really go, okay, these two, here it is. You have Jack, who's gonna become the Joker, kill Bruce's parents. Bruce becomes Batman because of his parents' death. Bruce Wayne, who is Batman, drops Jack Van Sands accidentally into the Ace Chemicals stuff, and well, Jack becomes the Joker. Now, when I look at other origin stories from Joker, I look at, obviously, the Joker, which I'm gonna do now, and another movie, and I'll talk about the other movie after I review this one. So, in this version of Joker's origin story, just like the other origin stories, Joker is a full-fledged adult. That seems to be the one narrative they seem to keep in every origin story of the Joker. Not just in the 1980s Batman movie, but also in Batman the Killing Joke, and that's another movie that's going to get talked about in this review. In Batman the Killing Joke, Joker is an adult as well when he becomes the Joker. So, and the same thing in this movie. You have Joaquin Phoenix, who's a full-grown adult, and he seems normal, but nope, not really. Here's a guy who's been in a mental institution. He has mental problems. He's taking medication for having some sort of mental illness and delusion. He also laughs without control, or is unable to control his laughter, because it happens at random moments. Now, did I like this movie? Yes, very much. I do think they did a nice job at teasing the Thomas Wayne thing, and then they did the right thing by not letting that be the case. I just think that was something they were just to toy the fans with. Okay, let's just fuck with the fans in this movie. I don't mind directors and producers fucking with fans as long as you do it correctly, and this was done very correctly. Now, here's what I found really interesting about this movie. We know he becomes the Joker for a lot of reasons. Yes, it is sort of society, but it's also the fact that I really think this guy has no identity at all. And this sort of fits the narrative. Does this fit the narrative of Heath Ledger's Joker? In my opinion, yes. This movie to me fits the narrative of Heath Ledger's Joker. Even though it's Joaquin Phoenix playing and now I think Warner and DC have said no, it's not the origin story of Heath Ledger's Joker, but it feels like it in every way, shape, or form. By the end of this movie, I just felt like, man, this really, in every way, shape, and form, felt like Heath Ledger. They were telling a backstory to Heath Ledger's Joker, and really, what they really told you about the character. And if you don't want to hear the spoiler, then don't listen to this video because I'm going to spoil it. The character never really had an identity. And what I mean by that is, okay, his mother, who he thought was his biological mother, was actually his adopted mother. His last name that they give you isn't really his last name, and really even his first name, Arthur, is up in the air for debate as well. So, at least in my opinion, it is. Because when you come from he was adopted, he came from an orphanage. I mean, this is, in many ways, the way they did this reminded me of one character, Victoria Winters. So I'm not saying he was left at the orphanage in a box. I don't know that. They didn't get into how he was left at the orphanage. They just said he was adopted from an orphanage, from basically an adoption agency, whatever you want to say. So here's a kid who was given up by his parents, not knowing his parents when he was a baby, and was told, well, yes, I'm your mother, when really the person who adopted him wasn't really his mother. The boy was abused physically, mentally, sexually, most likely. But again, are those the things that caused him to become the Joker? Those are compound things. I think at the end of the day, this still came down to choice. He chose to become the Joker. He chose to turn to murder, literally. Now, he does kill some subway jerks during this movie, and he does, to me, the people this is sort of where you're sort of half and half in this movie. I think that's the one sort of issue I take, that to me, I don't think those killings, him killing those three, okay, let me put it this way. Did they need to have him kill those three characters to become the Joker? No, because their overall plot is this guy literally has no identity. And by no identity, I mean he doesn't know who his real father is. He doesn't know who his real mother is. He literally only exists on a fucking sheet of paper, and what exists is very thin. All it is that he was abused by his adopted parent. Well, one adopted parent abused him, and the other let it the hell happen. So his real parents are a blank to him. So he, in a sense, is a blank sheet of paper. So really, again, no identity. So really, his identity is literally up for debate. Who the hell is he really? And he turns himself into the Joker. Yes, but is it because of the problems that he's facing in society? Okay, he gets beat up twice. He does shoot the 3 people on the subway for kicking his ass, for jumping him. He kills his adopted mother in a hospital. I think he killed that girl who was his neighbor. I think. It doesn't show it. It leaves you up, that sort of leaves you in the dark. It's up to you, the moviegoer, to decide that, I guess. I'm going to say he might have. Again, she wasn't really mean to him, so. And he actually does spare people. He spared a midget who wasn't mean to him. So, the Joker, while the society is tough on him, and the things he has gone through and does go through in this movie are tough, at the end of the day, his choice to become the Joker was that. It was his choice, and he made it cut clear and dry. He made it really because he realized one thing: I literally have no goddamn identity. And I think more of anything, he became the Joker to have his own identity. He literally is the Joker. And I think that's the biggest thing I take away from this Joker, this movie here especially, more so than any of the other origin stories we've seen on film. And for example, in Batman The Killing Joke, we know the Joker's origin story is done in flashback sequences, which is really well done. If you have not watched Batman The Killing Joke, I highly recommend it, just like I highly recommend this movie, The Joker. Now, real quick, I want to give my Joker rating before I finish Batman The Killing Joke here talking about it. My rating for The Joker is 9 out of 10. I don't give this movie a solid 10 because I just feel him killing the people on the subway. Look, is it senseless? Is it random? Is it Joker? Yeah, in some sense it is, but in a lot of sense it's like, okay, if your overall plot is just this guy's a blank sheet of paper and he's just becoming Joker to literally have an identity, then there's, to me, the subway shooting, it's more of an underline. To me, the subway shooting is more about revenge than anything else. And I could see Joker doing that if he was already Joker. You know what I mean? But he wasn't at that point. He still thought he was that guy, that woman's son, biological son, in that point of the movie. So that's sort of my issue with this. My only real issue with this movie is that subway shooting. It's just like they're trying to introduce a sort of an underlying plot that this is the Joker being random, but he's not yet the Joker at that point in time. This is about him becoming the Joker. So there's no, to me, again, I just found it was just a senseless scene for me. That's just my opinion, how I feel about it. Now, back to Batman The Killing Joke, which is an animated movie. Batman The Killing Joke, as I said, it tells Joker's origin story through flashback sequences. And just like in The Joker, he's an adult. And he's living with his girlfriend in a beat up apartment. I think that's the one thing really similar. Here's the one thing similar with Joker and Batman The Killing Joke. And I think they really were trying to combine Killing Joke, parts of Killing Joke, with somewhat of the Batman 80s movie. In Batman the Killing Joke, you have, the Joker who's living in a beat up apartment. I mean, it's shitty. And you have, in the Joker, he's living in a shitty apartment. Now, what's the differences? In the Joker, he's living with his mother. And Batman The Killing Joke, He's actually married and got a baby on the way. His wife is pregnant. No shit. Go watch this movie. Um, and he really wants the money to sort of get the hell out of that apartment. He wants to better their life. So the mob makes him an offer to be the Red Hood. Now people were going to say, wait, the Red Hood, the guy with the guns? No, 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 no. The Red Hood was an invention by the mob where they would make you wear a red, like, jar to protect you, to protect your identification, to give you that immunity when you robbed for them. And you would go in with a number of armed guys to pull a heist. So this guy who's a comedian, and that's another thing that's similar, the person who, Mark Hamill voices the Joker, obviously, and the person who becomes the Joker, just like in the movie The Joker, they're both comedians, so that's the one, there's similarities there yet again. See what I'm saying? So in Batman the Killing Joke, he agrees to do the job. Here's where it changes though. In Batman the Killing Joke, Batman already does exist. Joker has nothing to do with Batman's parents' death in Batman the Killing Joke because there's no Joker until Batman is already Batman. Batman, just like in Batman the 1980s movie, does drop Joker. Well, he doesn't so much drop him. In Batman the Killing Joke, he more falls into the chemicals completely by Batman scaring him, because the legend of the Batman is Batman will kick the fucking shit out of you. And that's not entirely wrong. But so he falls into the chemicals, it causes him to be the Joker, just like it did in the 80s movie. And what do I give Batman the Killing Joke? 8.5. Really good movie. I do like the Joker better actually than Batman the Killing Joke. I know some people might flip that, and I would understand. You know, like I said, every character has an origin story, and some have more than one, and definitely Joker has obviously more than one. There's no short way to do this goddamn video. But I'm trying to think if there's anything I want to say. Like I said, I do find it interesting that with the movie Joker, they did sort of like the Victoria Winters thing. Blank slate. He's a blank slate, and once he realizes he's a blank slate and he has no identity, he makes an identity for himself by literally becoming the Joker. So that's my review of the Joker. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you here on the next video.